Hello students, good morning. So we saw how Ivans's exam was actually arranged with the help of examination board secretary, and the whole arrangements were made by the governor himself. Why so special Ivans was because he was known as Ivans the Break, who had already broken the prison thrice and he had escaped. So now they were having a fear that in the name of education he could now again try to escape. So Ivan said, I may surprise everybody to his German teacher. And German teacher said, you don't have even a cat in hell's chance of getting appeared or getting through. He said, I may surprise everybody. At 8:30 the following morning, Ivans had a visitor. Two visitors, in fact. He tucked his grubby, dirty string waist into his equally grubby trousers and stood up from his bunk. Bunk is the attached seat or to the wall. Smiling cheerfully, morning Mr. Jackson, this is indeed an honor. So the first visitor was Mr. Jackson, and we have seen in the beginning Jackson is a prison officer. Jackson was the senior prison officer on D wing, and he and Evans had already become warm enemies. Warm enemies who just express their hatred every time. At Jackson's side stood Officer Stephens, who was a burly, surly looking man, healthy looking man, recently recruited to the profession. So he's a junior prison officer who had been newly appointed. Jackson nodded curtly when Evans wished him morning, Mr. Jackson. He just nodded curtly. And how's our little Einstein this morning then? And Jackson said, oh, Mr. Einstein, how are you? Although he's not Einstein, he's Evans. But why Jackson is comparing him or giving him this name? Because here Evans was pretending that he was really, really intelligent and wanted to get some education. So that is the reason Einstein is here mentioned. Wasn't he a mathematician, Mr. Jackson? Evans and Jackson are just warm enemies. They tease each other. So Evans said, Mr. Jackson, he was a mathematician. Because Evans was just getting that O level in German language and Einstein was a mathematician. I think he was a Jew, Mr. Jackson. And again he said, I'm not a Jew. But he was a Jew. So why are you comparing me with Einstein? So when Jackson only compared him with one name, he just gave him two, you can say, comments on that. Evans's face was unshaven and he wore a filthy, very dirty looking red and white bobble hat, woolen hat upon his head. Give me a chance, Mr. Jackson. I was just going to shave when you bust in. So Jackson was noticing unshaven face of Evans, and Evans got understood that Jackson was getting angry. So he said, give me a chance, Mr. Jackson. I was just going to shave. Which reminds me, as soon as Evans talked about shave, Jackson said, which remind me, Jackson turned his eyes on Stephens, make sure you take his razor out of the cell when he's finished scraping that ugly mug of his. Clear? Means when he's able to clear his face, take the razor out. So take the razor out actually is a symbol of taking all the kind of sharp objects out of Evans's cell. Because prison authorities were very scared that Evans the Break, so he could try to escape. So they were taking all the necessary precautions. The first one was to take all the sharp objects out of Evans's cell, because we could use those sharp objects to come out to escape. One of these days he'll do us all a favor and cut his bloody throat. Jackson, who doesn't like Evans, said that if he'll be having razor with him, maybe someday he'll cut his throat. He doesn't mean this. He knew that Evans is not going to do this thing, but he wishes that Evans should do this. For a few seconds, Evans looked thoughtfully at the man standing ramrod. Ramrod means like a road, straight in front of him. A string of Second World War medals proudly paraded over his left breast pocket. So there were lots of medals. Mr. Jackson, was it you who took my nail scissors away? As soon as Jackson said take his razor away, he was thinking, because he was finding for his nail scissors and he was not getting it. So now he connected this thing and Evans asked, so it was you who took my nail scissors away? Evans had always worried about his hands. He was very particular about the cleanliness of his hands. And your nail file too, Jackson said. So his reply was, not only your nail scissors, but I have taken away your nail file too. Look, for a moment, Evans's eyes smoldered, widened dangerously. But Jackson was also ready for him. If Evans was getting angry, Jackson was also ready for him. Orders of the governor, Evans. He leaned forward and leered, his voice drooping to a harsh, contemptuous whisper. You want to complain? At this point, Jackson, in a teasing way, bent forward and he just drooped down, slowed down his voice, and said, Evans, these are the orders of governor. Do you want to complain? If these are the orders of governor, whom would he complain? Evans shrugged, moved his shoulders lightly, not liking it, and the crisis was over. There was no fight between Jackson and Evans. You've got half an hour to smarten yourself up, Evans, and take that blurry hat off, Jackson ordered him. Smarten yourself up means do shave and get ready and take that blurry hat off. Blurry hat here means that red and white woolen filthy hat worn by Evans. And at this point, Evans, it's very important para, me at, ooh, Evans put his right hand lovingly on top of the filthy woolen and smiled sadly. Do you know, Mr. Jackson? It's the only thing that has ever brought me any sort of luck in my life. Kind of lucky charm, if you know what I mean. And today I thought, well, with me, exam and all that. So Evans very lovingly put his hand on the hat and said, this is kind of my lucky charm. This has brought me luck every time. So today is my exam. So we can understand he wants to have this hat with him. Buried somewhere in Jackson was a tiny core of compassion, although Jackson looked very strict and hard from outside, but he was a compassionate kind of fellow, and Evans knew it, that emotionally he could have the permission to have the hat. Okay, now what was the importance of hat? You'll be knowing in the text. We have seen in the outline of the story as well. Just this once then, Shirley Temple. There was one thing that Jackson genuinely loathed, hated about Evans. It was his long, wavy hair. So Jackson replied, okay, only this once, only for this time, I'm allowing your hat, not for the next time. Shirley Temple, why has again, first he named him like Einstein, now he named him like Shirley Temple. Shirley Temple was a very popular actress, especially popular for her emotional roles. And Jackson actually hated the wavy hair of Evans. So he said, okay, you can keep your hat with yourself, but for this time only, and get shaving. At 8:45 the same morning, the Reverend Stuart McLeary left his bachelor flat in Broad Street and stepped out briskly, quickly towards Carfax. The weatherman reported temperatures considerably below the normal for early June, and a long black overcoat and a shallow crowned, very less, not much deep, crowned clerical hat provided welcome protection from the steady drizzle raindrops which had set in half an hour earlier and which now spread the thick lenses of his spectacles. So this is about McLeary. At 8:45, McLeary is coming from his flat, and there was some prediction about weather, and it was drizzling as well. In his right hand, he, means McLeary, was carrying a small brown suitcase which contained all that he would need for his morning duties, because he was a parson in church, including a sealed question paper envelope, a yellow invigilation form, a special authentication card from the examination board, a paper knife, a Bible. He was to speak to the Women's Guild that afternoon on the Book of Ruth. In church, he has to speak a group of women, and a current copy of the Church Times. So these were all the things he was having in his suitcase. The 2-hour examination was scheduled to start at 9:15 a.m. and now it is 8:45. Evans was leathering, covering his face vigorously, means quickly, when Stephens brought in 2 small square tables and set them opposite each other in the narrow space between the bunk on the one side and on the other a distempered stone wall. So he was shaving when Stephens, the junior prison officer, came, and he put 2 tables opposite each other. Next, Stephens brought in 2 hard chairs the slightly less battered, damaged of which he placed in front of the table which stood nearer the cell door. So next he brought two tables, and the better table was kept for the invigilator near the cell door. So these were all the preparations for exam of Evans. Two chairs, one for Evans and second for the invigilator, two tables again for both of them. Jackson put in a brief final appearance before exam. Jackson just came again and asked, "Behave yourself, lady," suggested Evans to behave himself. Evans turned and nodded, and these, Jackson pointed to the pin-ups. He was actually pinning up his hair under the cap because he was having long wavy hair and he was shaving, so he had pinned up his hair. "Off," Jackson said, "remove your pin-ups." Evans turned and nodded again. "I was going to take them down anyway," he said. "A minister, isn't he? The chap coming to sit in, I mean." So Evans knew that the invigilator who was coming to sit in was a minister. "And how did you know that?" asked Jackson quietly. Jackson said, "How do you know this?" "Well, I had to sign some forms, didn't I? And I couldn't help." Means there was the name of the invigilator in just front of my eyes, and I could not help when I was signing, so I saw the name. Evans drew the razor carefully down his left cheek and left a neat swathe gap in the white leather. "Can I ask you something, Mr. Jackson?" Again, Evans is asking something. "Why did they have to bug me, lock me in this cell, this particular cell?" He nodded his head vaguely, clearly to a point above the door. He's looking at a point above the door and asking, "Why have they bugged me here in this cell?" He's pointing to some point. "Not a very neat job," conceded Jackson. That point was actually again a precaution taken by the prison authorities, which was noticed by Evans. They did not want Evans to notice that, but it was noticed, but because it was not clearly done. What was it? It was actually a microphone, connected with the governor's office, so that governor could hear all the conversation. They are not. They don't honestly think I'm going to try to what? Try to escape. Evans looking at this microphone and thought that, are you thinking that I'm going to try to escape? Because they are taking such precautions. They are taking no chances, Evans. Nobody in his senses would take any chance with you. Jackson said, you have broken the prison thrice and you are very clever, so nobody is going to take any chance with you. Who's going to listen in? Evans asked. I'll tell you who's going to listen in, Larry. It's the governor himself. See, he don't trust you a bloody inch, and nor do I. I'll be watching you like a hawk. Hawk is a bird who's very, very popular for eyesight. Evans, so keep your nose clean. Keep your nose clean means behave yourself. Clear? He walked towards the door. Evans nodded. He had already thought of that he would have to keep his nose clean because today everybody was alert. And number 2 handkerchief was lying ready on the bunk to clean his leather and shave. A neatly folded square of white linen. So he was having a linen, this hanky ready. Just one more thing, Einstein, Jackson said before going. Yeah, what's that? Evans said, good luck, old son. So Jackson also wished him. So you have seen many of the precautions taken by the prison authorities for examination. Next, also in the coming chapter, we are going to see all the precautions and the result as well. And now some words. Complement versus complement. Pronunciation is same, L with I and L with E, but the meanings are, spellings are different and the meanings are also very, very different. First compliment, I with L, means an admiring remark when you like something, like somebody and you praise for that. I complimented my girlfriend about her makeup. Next compliment, when we have E after L, is goes well together. Like the sauce complements the steak. The rice go well, or the rice complements the rajma complements rice. In this way you can use that. Accept versus accept, again pronunciation is same but meanings. Accept, double C, means to get, to receive, to have. Give her a little time to accept the idea. Next, except EXCEPT means not included. Besides this, leaving this. But he had never seen any pictures except a few small ones. Immigrate versus immigrate. Immigrate pronunciation again same, spelling different and meanings are also different. Immigrate, E, beginning with E, means leaving. Many people had to immigrate from Europe during the Nazi period. Next, immigrate means coming. So see, opposite meaning, leaving and coming. He immigrated to Brazil in search of a better life. Last pair is flair versus flair. Again, spellings are different. First flair, FLAIR, means skill, talent or style. Like Julie has artistic flair, Julie has singing flair, Julie has dancing flair, any kind of talent. FLARE, flair, means a sudden blaze. The flare from the lighter scared the small child as the flame illuminated her face. So she was scared. A sudden blaze is flare. Note down these words and read the text of Ivan Streisand O-Level, please. Then you will be able to have all the incidents in sequence. Okay, have a good day.